It all started with a missed lunch with the CEO. Imagine the scene. The CEO is explaining the new marketing strategy that the rest of us and the rest of the company is about to undertake. There are about 45 of us in the room. And as the CEO is talking about this marketing strategy, people are nodding and smiling. And yet something about it seems off to me. And I keep thinking to myself, I'm not sure he's really considering a few key issues that might really blindside our progress. But I didn't say anything. I didn't speak up. In fact, I remained completely silent. Besides, if the CEO is discussing this and everyone else is nodding and agreeing, then there's obviously something that I don't understand, so I'm not going to speak up and say something and look stupid. The CEO finishes describing this new marketing plan. The room goes quiet. And then a few seconds later, the IT guy from all the way in the back of the room raises his hand and he says, with all due respect, sir, I'm not quite sure you're taking into consideration some key issues that could really blindside our progress. See, this is exactly why I didn't speak up. The IT guy is about to get nailed. There is really an awkward silence in the room, and the CEO looks over at him, squints his eyes, and then he says, "Wow, we had not considered any of that. You know what? We're going to have to make some changes. So why don't you and I go out to lunch today, my treat, and we're going to discuss this further. Oh, and by the way, thanks for speaking up and bringing this to our attention today before we moved forward." If only. Do you ever have that feeling and the regret of, if only I had done things differently? I could only imagine what could have been that day if only I had been the one to speak up. But I didn't speak up because I was afraid of making a mistake. I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid of looking stupid. Do you suffer from the fear of speaking up as well? Do you suffer from those same issues? You know, as we grow up and as we build our careers and build our experiences, we're supposed to take our place in the world. We're supposed to speak up, be bold, and be unapologetically awesome. Right? Well, that was not the case for me. Growing up, I was extremely shy and quiet, and I felt overlooked and ignored. And in those times when I would muster up the courage to speak up among a group, like at a big family dinner or a holiday, I found that people just didn't even hear what I said. I would speak up and they would look right through me. Sometimes they would even change the subject. So as a kid, I just started to believe that this was the way it was. And even as I got older, I realized that maybe what I had to say wasn't that important. However, it was not until that day that my ideas went out to lunch with the CEO and the IT guy that I started to realize that it might be in my best interest to learn how to speak up and get a little bit more comfortable with it. So I joined a public speaking group. And I came the first day, and they made me stand up and introduce myself, and I was so traumatized by that experience that I couldn't come back for 6 months. But come back I did, and I gave my first speech, which was quite difficult. I gave my second speech, still difficult. I gave my third speech. Oh, it's just not getting any easier. But at the end of that third speech, I noticed something strange happening. People were listening. And so a few months later, a request came to this public speaking group for a few volunteers to come and speak to a group of university alumni professionals about public speaking. So after this third speech, I was feeling a little bit more bold, and I volunteered. And I still remember this day. I was so nervous as these alumni professionals started walking in, and they just oozed success. They had these custom-tailored suits, they had these shiny shoes, and they all carried very fancy pens. I love fancy pens. 2 minutes into my talk, these two women in the front row, complete with customized suits and shiny stilettos, did something that changed the course of my career and my life. They wrote down what I said. They took those fancy pens and they actually wrote it down. And this was a transformational moment for me, because was it even possible that what I had to say might have value so that people with customized suits, fancy shoes, and fancy pens might actually write it down? In the years that followed, I realized that I was not the only one who was shy and quiet, feeling overlooked and ignored. Like some of the people that I work with. Like Rena, the entrepreneur who owns a hugely successful retail franchise, who would like to speak more, but doesn't think that anyone would be interested in hearing the secrets behind her strategies of building $1 million business. Or John, the soft-spoken artist who has a beautiful backstory that he uses to inspire his cutting-edge art, but realizes and thinks that no one would be interested in what he has to say and that everyone would find it boring. The list of brilliant and quiet people goes on and on. What I've started to realize is that whether you are an entrepreneur or an artist or a business professional or a PhD or a student, anyone can let the fear and discomfort of speaking up and the fear of public speaking hold them back from sharing the expertise that they have spent their whole lives building. Today, I carry a fancy pen around me wherever I go to remind me of that one day so many years ago where overcoming the fear of speaking up for 7 minutes literally changed the course of my life. There comes a time when we can share our expertise, share our experience, share our insights. We don't have to let fear hold us back. If only we could step up and share of ourselves and share all that we are, we might find the rewards incredible. So I'm here to tell you that we don't have to stay quiet anymore. If only we were to put the fear behind us, if only we were to speak up and share the value of ourselves, if only we could start today, imagine what could be. Thank you.